President Bola Tinubu is to present the whistleblowing bill to the National Assembly as his administration reunites the fight against corruption and financial fraud in the country. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Mr. Wale Adun, disclosed this at a sensitization workshop on the whistleblowing policy in Abuja yesterday. Well, we also have reports that according to him, the President's administration was determined to rally good-spirited members of the Nigerian public to join the fight against corruption in the country by reporting financial malpractice to the authorities. He stressed that fighting corruption was a collective responsibility to create an environment where the Nigerian populace would feel confident and protected in reporting unethical, illegal, untoward, wrong practices that could jeopardize the interests of all. That's to also talk about jeopardizing the development of the nation. The first person I would like to get his thoughts on this story is Chief Luckyman.
Well, it's a good thing that the president is representing this particular bill to the National Assembly. However, you see, we have presented so many bills, passed lots of fantastic bills in this country. The issue we have is not with the bills, it's with the implementation of these bills. Are we ready to implement these bills to the letter? This particular bill, cuts across a lot of security agencies if it has to be very, very successful. Institution whereby someone will take the risk, come out and say, look, something is going wrong here, provides evidence and everything, and at the end of the day, the authorities sells him out to those he's fighting against, and he becomes a prey in the hands of very powerful people that he cannot actually, fight with. Whereas the government is supposed to be there to protect him, but I don't think Nigeria has gotten to that place yet. For now, the bill is a good one, but our security agencies up to the task to ensure the protection of whistleblowers when they come forth.
When you talk about Nigeria not getting to that point yet of implementation, does it mean we don't have laws that we are already implementing?
I don't think there is any law in Nigeria that has been implemented 40% for now.
Wow. Mufasa, you agree with that school of thought?
I think I would partially agree with him. Reasons being that I know that the problem of our country is not the absence of laws, but the implementations of what we have already on the ground. When you talk about this whistleblowing and all of that, I know this is not the first time that we'll be talking about, people coming out to blow whistle, But then again, I'm also aware that this corruption fight has become an unending, issue in this country, and quite unfortunately, we seem not to be getting any results. Probably, perhaps, it could be because of what the chief rightly pointed out, implementation. I'm aware in 2016, when the former president was the first actually to initiate this issue of whistleblowing, and we saw how the whole issue was handled. If you could still remember the Ikoyi Gates, where a certain amount of money was found in an apartment that was supposedly owned by the former National Intelligence Director,
NIA
boss, and all of that, almost 13 billion naira or thereabout. And you saw how that issue was managed. Up to this moment, we don't even know the ending of that matter, if the matter was followed to its logical conclusion. And let us look at what he equally pointed out, the safety. How do you conceal the identity of the whistleblower? I will still reference the Ikoyi Gates. You saw the drama that played out, how the whistleblower was, at the point it became opened because there was a TV program that he appeared on, even though his identity was concealed. But it shouldn't have gotten to that level where the whistleblower came out and began to agitate and all of that. So I do not think there is sincerity of purpose and intention in the fight against corruption in this country. Already we have laws We have, stipulated guidelines for elected office holders, employee of governments. We have rules and regulations for them to follow. And if we have strong institutions that the moment you pilfer, the moment you go against the laid down rules and procedures of office, immediately you don't even need somebody to come blow the whistle. Immediately you get apprehended and the necessary punitive measures is meted out. But what we see is just like they coming out with policies just to what I would call distract the attention of the people. Because for me, this is the time when Nigerians are talking about how to make the economy okay for the people, how to make the Nigerian state comfortable for Nigerians, and they are bringing a bill to whistleblower and all of that.
You don't think this bill is going to help make Nigeria better? Yesterday we took a story where Peter Obi was making mention of this this whole whistleblowing issue with the anonymous ex-account owner that was detained. That's talking about the popular Kingdom now, and then Peter Obi actually made reference to this, that we should have stronger laws and that would be implemented towards protecting the whistleblower and information. So don't you think this particular law, seeing this in the stories today, after what happened yesterday, is going to help make Nigeria better, in your words?
Now, like what I've said before, already we have laws in this country. And before now, we already had a policy of if you see something, say something.
Yes.
So, if you want to place that side by side with the issue of whistleblowing, for me, it's not too, let us not give it too much gravity to the extent that we now begin to want to institute it in our laws as if it's what the problem of this country currently, is. What I'm saying is, in as much as I know that as a Nigerian, as an individual, the onus, rests on you. You have the responsibility to report a crime when you see one, no matter how weighty the crime is. And it is also the responsibility of government to conceal and protect your identity. Or ideally, that's how it should be, because Nigeria is the only country where we are talking about whistleblowing. Even in Europe and America, in countries where you see people still come out and give information to government and government agencies, and their identity are concealed. But what I'm saying is, currently, as we speak, as a nation, I do not think in the order of a scale of preference, in the order of priority, this is what should be put in the front burner. Because like I've said before, we have been fighting corruption for ages. Whistleblowing policy is not new. I just told you what happened in 2017 when a certain amount of money was found in a particular apartment and all of that. At about that point in time, one would have expected that matter should have been followed to the logical conclusion. And by today, as we are talking, some persons would have been, been cooling their feet in the prison cells. But what we see today is a complete far cry. So for me, in as much as there's nothing wrong in encouraging, in advising Nigerians, the people, that if you see something, say something, and to that extent your identity will be concealed. If they are meant to be reward for you, good and fine. But let us also look at the pressing issues currently in this country. That is my concern.
Looking at the state of yes, come in, please.
Okay, no, sorry. I listened to him attentively, and I think there are certain areas. Okay, President Tinubu is talking about whistleblowing today. He's reintroducing the bill, representing it, and but just of recent, Nigerians have been complaining about certain things that we expect the government, if this is a government that our checks and balance system is working effectively, that will effectively check all the loopholes, all checkmate corruption to an extent. These things wouldn't be coming up. Okay, people came out and they were crying. Look, Mr. President has a refinery somewhere in Malta, and that is contributing to the deplorable state of our economy here in Nigeria. Because you take our crude out, you refine, and you bring back the refined product and still sell to us. There is no accountability there. You have ensured that our refineries are not working.
Was it the president who ensured that refineries are not working?
The government has ensured our refineries. If I talk about the president, I'm talking about the government, for Christ's sake. He is the leader. Exactly. He is the head. And when there are fingers pointing at him that, look, Mr. President has a refinery in so place that is having adverse effect on our economy. We expect that those issues to be investigated, to be brought to the front burner, and people should address them head on. But the president did not come out to do any disclaimer about him owning a refinery elsewhere, and they just let this thing just slide. Okay. Most of our former IOCs today are being bought over by some persons that are either family members of the president or family friends. And all this whole system is being micromanaged. Look at what Nigerians are going through, buying fuel at the cost of 1,000 naira per liter, and people are not bothered, and they are sitting down there telling us that they are introducing a bill called whistleblowing. The whistleblowing should start with them. We should start to investigate the reason why the government of this country lied to Nigerians in the first instance that subsidy payment had stopped. That was the first pronouncement he made the moment he got to power. However, they have been paying subsidy from that time till now. So you are paying subsidy, you are using our hard-earned money to still pay for subsidy, and we are still paying excessively for that same fuel that you claim to be subsidizing. So, going back to where I started.
From all of your explanations and that of Mufasa, it already shows that whistleblowing is actually the base of all of these things.
No.
Because when we talk about an economy that is at the state that Nigeria's economy is, if we have more people speaking up and reporting people, which is whistleblowing, don't you think that is going to help us recover a lot? I
told you something from the start. I said, look, it's not about whistleblowing, it's about the implementation.
But
we have been blowing a lot of whistles here.
Yes.
Whistles have been
But Pastor said this is not supposed to be at the front burner. Do you think it shouldn't be at the front burner?
Yes, of course. I support him 100%. You know why? Because if there are checks and balances, and this thing, ungodly practices that our civil servants and other people engage in are checked and nipped in the bud timely, there will be no need. Our economy will not be this deplorable. We will not get to this stage. We have gotten beyond that stage. That is why people are now saying there should be whistleblowing. Because people are actually seeing something, and they are supposed to say something. But because they have refused to say something, they are now saying, okay, let us bring a whistleblowing bill to see if we can persuade them to say something. But it's not about saying something. When I say what I want to say, when I say what I see, will you be there to protect me? Will you give me the needed coverage? Will the whistle I am blowing be taken seriously? Won't you sweep it under the carpet as others have been swept under the carpet?
Talking about issues being swept under the carpet, what do you think our problem is with implementation, Mufasa?
Well, you see, our problem is institutions, ranging from law enforcement to the judiciary. Because once somebody, comes forward with information, it's expected that immediately security operatives should immediately commence proper investigation to ascertain the veracity of such allegation. But unfortunately, our institutions have been so compromised to the extent that the whistleblower now becomes the prime suspect. Because, they look for a way to trivialize the whole issue to the extent that any other person that has information to present gets so scared and apprehensive. That's why I said, whatever they are doing today, there's no sincerity of purpose and intention. I call it diversionary measures. People have come out in the past to give information. People are still giving information. It makes reference to an information that was recently published on national dailies that highly placed individuals close to the presidency have refineries in Malta and some other, countries, of the world. Has anything been done about that? A lot of people have said so much already. These are people who don't even want to be paid. They are not even interested in giving any percentage. What they are interested in, please just investigate this matter and ensure that those who are involved are brought to book. But, it's a complete far cry. So, what difference will it make? We have laws already in this country. The amount of laws that we have against crime and criminality in this country, if when properly implemented, I'm sure by now, criminality would have been reduced to the barest minimum. So, this is just their normal drama and theatrics. Let it be that, oh, the National Assembly is doing something and all of it. We are asking, as a people, why are Nigerians buying petrol at the rate of 1,000 naira today? They told us that subsidy is gone. And they are paying subsidy. So, is that not, do I need to come and start blowing whistle? Is that not enough to investigate this government? That something that was not appropriated for in the budget. The other day, NBC told us that they are paying half the price of the landing cost of petrol. Where's the other half coming from? So, do I need to blow? Is that whistle not loud enough? So, like I've said before, and I really quite agree with my brother here, the chief in the studio, that all we want is for Nigeria to be better for each and every one of us, not just for the elites and the bourgeoisies alone, not for the aristocrats alone.
Not at all.
Nigeria is meant for everybody. Nigeria is meant to work both for the high, the mighty, and the low. But currently, it's more or less like an elitist society that we are running. So enough of all these things. They should just get their heads off the cloud, and stamp their feet on the ground. People are beginning to ask questions. People are agitating already. You saw what happened in the recent Head Badness protest, even though we saw how the government tried to introduce some suppressive measures, to blackmail and cow the people. But then again, how long can you do it? You cannot do it. It's democracy.
One would actually ask what exactly the people require from the president at this time. Because the president has sent this bill to the National Assembly and people are already talking against it. So what exactly are we expecting the president to come out and do at this moment before we move to the next story? Chief Luckyman.
What we expect the president to do is to declare an emergency on the petroleum sector, ensuring that Nigerians are okay to an extent. First and foremost, ensure that our modular refineries and domestic refineries here in Nigeria, for instance, the Dangote refinery, have enough crude to refine for Nigerians to have fuel, PMS at an affordable price. Let me tell you something. The moment the price of fuel comes down to 200, 300 naira, everything that's expensive in the market comes down.
We'll get there. Let's look at this story on pension fraud now.